October 2017, a leaked memo revealed a government surveillance program targeting Black activists and liberation movements. It was titled Black Identity Extremist Intelligent Assessment. Joining me in studio is Adjoa, Professor of Law, and Sue Udry, Executive Director of Defending Rights and Dissent. They are members of the BIE Abolition Collective. This collective have come together to counteract and expose this surveillance. Welcome, thanks for joining The Real News.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, I'm looking at this stuff and I lived in the shadow of it for like years, decades, COINTELPRO, and now I see that this is a new kind of thing happening. Can you tell me this Black identity extremist thing, how many groups do you estimate they're targeting, and who are they targeting? Adjoa, you want to start and then I can?
Yeah, sure. We don't actually know the number of groups they're targeting. We do know that they're targeting groups such as Law for Black Lives Matter, those kind of groups. I wouldn't be surprised if they're targeting groups like National Conference of Black Lawyers because of our history, not because of anything we're necessarily doing. But the problem is that we don't know exactly how many groups they're targeting. We know from their literature, I would assume they're targeting groups such as the Nation of Islam, Republic of New Africa, Malcolm X grassroots movement, groups that have in their mission and in their descriptions of what they do, either separatists believe that there should be separate states for Blacks, or some other identification of where they are speaking either strongly in favor of Black human rights, about the oppression of Blacks, and about pointing the finger at the white supremacist government. So that's some of what I think we do know, even though we don't have a list of the groups that they are actually targeting, which makes it worse in a way, because you don't know what groups to issue a warning to, so to speak.
The memo, like Black Identity Extremists Assessment, that was leaked in 2017, and it was created under the guise of protecting law enforcement. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah. The actual title of the report is Black Identity Extremists Likely Motivated to Target Law Enforcement Officers. This went out across the FBI's information sharing network. So every police department in the United States had access to this report. And you got to think that they were paying attention because it says, Black folks are going to be targeting you, watch out. So when we talk about, the they who are targeting groups, it's the FBI, it's Department of Homeland Security, but it's also every single law enforcement agency in the country. And it specifically warns them to watch out for protesters, watch out for they refer to racial justice protests as likely to turn violent. And so therefore, police are going to worry. It gives them really justification to respond to protests that are peaceful with unjustified violence and cracking down in a way that they shouldn't against people's First Amendment rights.
And I see that memo was leaked in 2017. But how long do you think this program's been going on? Because I've always, from the Patriot Act, after 9/11 and so on, I've always felt like there was surveillance, enhanced surveillance more than COINTELPRO, based on their attack against Muslims and other kind of things. How long do you think this have actually been going? You think it's been going on since 2014, the Ferguson thing, Mike Brown, or?
I think that they've always surveilled activist groups. I think we call it a continuation of COINTELPRO.
Okay.
It just went above ground. Remember, COINTELPRO was really below ground, even though I'm sure many people thought something was going on. This is they're very bold with this. So I think there's a continuation, and I think it's been since Fatima, one of the women with the Muslim Justice League, says this actually predates COINTELPRO, this kind of surveillance of Black activists and activists of color that are challenging the status quo of this country. You know, it's like you can be a part of it, but only on the level and within the constructs of how we set it up. You know, you're enslaved, now you're second-class citizens, and we need you to stay in your place. And so anyone who, or any group who wants to challenge that, I think has been subjected in some form or another, where whether it's, as Sue has talked about, locally with local police, or whether as it was with COINTELPRO and now with the FBI.
Do you, I mean, I understand that y'all have broadened the amount of people that y'all will work with in terms of the collective. So who all are you working with in terms of other groups and nationalities, et cetera, religious groups, so on?
Yeah, for sure. So we're working closely with, as Adjoa mentioned, the Muslim Justice League, which is a group based in Boston that that focuses on the law enforcement and intelligence agencies targeting and surveillance of Muslim groups, particularly with the Countering Violent Extremism program, which we can talk about. We're also working with a local group that's based in Washington, D.C. called the Justice for Muslims Collective. And so what we see, it's so closely tied in with the war on terror and the attacks on not just Muslim communities, but also on Muslim dissenters in a way that would crush any ability for Muslims to participate and be leaders in, you know, the peace movement and the abolition movement and pro-justice movement. So, so we see it as really part of one big whole cloth, and absolutely, it's been going on at least since the FBI was formed.
Tell me this then: if people see this program, say, and they're interested in getting in touch with you all, is there a website? Is there how does that happen?
Yeah, you got a mind meld with us at this point. We're developing a website, and it'll be up this weekend, and we can be reached by email, I guess. Maybe we can give my work email address. It's probably the easiest. It's sue@rightsanddissent.org. So folks can reach out to me, and I can connect you to our website as soon as we get it launched.
Okay, so thank you for joining me, and we'll follow up, and we certainly want to cover the DC program and additional programs in this region.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Eddie.